guys, just doing a review for The Walking Dead, season 11, episode 22. So there's two more episodes left before the final, episode. Yeah. Well, actually, there's two episodes left before the whole show's over, and one more episode before the final episode. So we've got the penultimate episode next week, and then the final episode the week after. Yeah. We're so close to the end now. I mean, it somewhat to a degree feels like it's starting to feel like the end now, but I don't know. There's still things missing to it to make it actually feel like this is it. This is the end of The Walking Dead. There's just so much missing things that stop it from feeling like that. Yeah. But I guess I'll just talk about the episode anyway. So basically, Carol and Daryl, Maggie, and Rosita, Gabriel, they're still trying to find the kids basically. As for Ezekiel and Negan, they're trying to, basically get free of their situation that they're in as prisoners and being slaves, and trying to make people stand up against them. And spoiler, obviously, spoiler warning, if you need to watch the episode first. So yeah. So basically, everyone does stand up in the end, but I wasn't sure how things was gonna go. I was getting a little bit nervous, but I was still like, nah, they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna kill Negan. Because I was thinking like maybe this is Negan's plan, because he did say in the previous episode that when it's time to step up, like he needs to do it, and maybe this was his plan the whole time. And if it somehow backfired, he'd be fine, sacrificing himself. But then when it got to a point where there was, basically putting his wife into the situation, I was like, oh damn, how's this gonna go? Because he was fine sacrificing himself to make the plan work, but when they brought his wife into it, I guess Ezekiel had to step up even faster because she would have got killed. Yeah, because she's pregnant as well. Because it was looking like at a point where he was going to make a deal with the person in charge to, basically reveal who's the one who's trying to make an uprising and make people step against the Commonwealth in the situation that they're in. But, Negan, he makes it seem like he's going to do that, but instead he basically reveals that he's the one who did it, I guess. And he's the only one who's going to be killed and be held responsible. Yeah. And not his followers. But then they bring the wife, and my god, just to show people and make them fear, which this is not what the Commonwealth is about in the comics. It just feels more like cliche villains that we've seen many times. And I knew that like those two weren't gonna die anyway. Yeah, because I kept thinking like, man, imagine if Negan lost his wife again, but this time he also has a baby, so it'd be even worse of an impact. Like I can't imagine how he'd react to that. I feel like it'd just be broken, really. Instead of becoming a monster like it was in season 7, I just think like he'd be done at that point. He wouldn't want to live on. Yeah. Instead of becoming worse than he already was in season 7. Yeah. But yeah. Things work out because Ezekiel, basically steps up to stop them, and he makes everyone else step up. And then but then still, like, I was thinking, like, because back in the day, the governor, like, he didn't care if people, went on his side. He'd massacre all of them, and that's what he does, in, is it season 4? Yeah, he just takes out, like, a huge amount of his people, and everyone else is just like, what the flip? Yeah. So this guy is willing to do the same thing. But, basically the Commonwealth soldiers, they actually have a soul, so they kind of turn against him. And then Daryl comes just in time because he gets like Kelly. But then, Daryl comes and stabs him like somewhere in the back. And I guess Negan's about to finish him off for trying to kill his wife. But then that's when Rosita comes because she can't really find the kids. They find Herschel. Yeah, Maggie finds Herschel because we see that she's a bit worried about not finding Herschel. Like, he might be hurt. Or worse. But they find him, but they still don't find Coco and Judith, so yeah. And Rosita's reaction to not for Coco not being there, man, because that's the youngest one as well. Like they're still in danger, so Rosita just goes all out on the guy and basically gets one of the dead soldiers and puts it on the guy who's in charge. And I'm not sure if he reveals any information. I didn't really fully hear what he said at the end, but Rosita just lets the zombie the walker just massacre him. Yeah, eat his eyeball. Yeah, that was nice. Yum. As for Eugene, Eugene's been a character I haven't really been a big fan of for the whole show. Yeah, I mean, as of season 9, he became an okay character, but from season 4 to like, I guess by the end of season 8, I didn't like his character. He was always in my least favorite characters. I mean, there was a, before I guess Nicholas and Spencer, those kind of characters. Probably was my least favorite character in the whole show. Yeah. I mean, Gabriel, when he came in, he became my least favorite, but then it just went back to Eugene because he actually, just in one season, became a way better character from all the stuff he did. He instantly became a way better character than Eugene. And it wasn't until the end of season 8 when they finally do something where I'm like, I guess he's okay now because he basically helped defeat the Saviors. And he kind of reveals to the people, like, all the things he did in the past and how he was a coward. And how, like, if you finally take a stand, you can bring so much change. This is like his last efforts, and his last speech was, pretty good, because I wasn't really sure if he was gonna make it out or not. And to be honest, I wouldn't really feel that sad because, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Eugene. He's one of my least favorite characters, but he has got a bit better since the end of season 8, like the last episode when he helps defeat the saviors to present day, I guess. But he's never been a character that I've been invested in. So him being the last bit of like the most important core part of the final season, I'm just like, I don't care. I really don't care. To me, what they should have did is like, because Connie was the one who was trying to bring like change into the Commonwealth. I mean, Eugene only did it because of his girlfriend, and she wanted to bring change. I mean, obviously, he didn't want to ignore stuff because I guess he is a bit different from before. But it was really Connie who was trying to get news about how twisted the Commonwealth is, and it would have made more sense like when maybe like I don't know, maybe when Sebastian's trying to kill Eugene and there's a walker coming, Connie gets in the way and basically moves Eugene away and then accidentally tosses Sebastian into the walker, so then she's on trial. And to me, it would have made a way more sense, and it would have been way more intense because I actually would have been worried for Connie because like ever since she came to the show, like I've loved Connie. Like my God, out of Magna's group, she turned out to be the best. Yeah, I was kind of shocked how good she turned out, man. I mean, for a mute character, like for her to be like my favorite character, new character since Negan came into the show, man, she did so much for the show, man. And to me, it would have made way more sense to do that with her character instead of I guess she gets taken, like she still gets in danger, but it gets resolved really fast, like Devil saves her and stuff. Yeah. And then in this episode they go to find, the others and they save them. Even though Negan and Ezekiel did most of the work anyway, so yeah. But it would have been way more sense if Connie, a character that people actually love, at least really like, but love, was in that danger, like in Eugene's situation. And when it gets to the point where I guess he's guilty, I'm not like really sad. It's just because of his last speech that he gives. I was like, man, because he has done a lot of bad things and he's trying his best to make up for it. Finally, after all this time, I mean, well, he did do a big thing at the end of season 8, but he's just trying to be a better person at this point because he's been a coward like a lot of his life, and there's people who helped him become a better person. Like he basically means Abraham was the girl that he has now, um, Yumiko who's defending him. Yeah, he just wanted to be truth at the end, and even though it didn't work with Pamela because it was kind of rigged. Like, of course he was going to be guilty. The people, maybe some of the people, and Mercer was the ones who actually listened to what he said, and they're going to help him escape basically. And then Mercer's going to turn against Pamela and stuff because basically Eugene made Mercer step up instead of just stay in his place and not doing anything, even though he knows what's happening is one. Even his sister knows. So yeah, I guess he's gonna step up in the next episode and help Eugene escape. Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. I can't really think what else happens. Yeah, I can't really think. That's the main stuff anyway. I guess we'll just see what happens next week. But I just remember like there was a time where when they had like a next time, I'd be so excited with what they actually show, and it makes me think like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? But when I watched the promo for next week's episode, I'm just like, you're missing something to make me be like, oh my God, I can't wait for this next episode, and it's the last season as well. This is where the show needs to end. It's kind of lost its way at this point. I mean, obviously, it's not a bad show, but it's not in its prime anymore. It just needs to end. we was lucky to get like some kind of good stuff back with season 9 and 10, but I'd say like the COVID episodes of season 10 was where it just went downhill again. Well, not downhill where it's just awful, but it just became a mid show at this point. It's a mid show going into its last season. Like from season 10C to now, it became a mid show. Yeah, yeah. These last stories that they told were pretty average compared to the comic, where like huge things were happening. Yeah, and it's not like they had all this action and they made like the Commonwealth 100% villains. They just had really good storytelling, and that's what's missing from this final season. They're not giving it their all in the storytelling. They just decided to make the Commonwealth full villains, and and that's why I'll just end this with you. Yeah. Guess I'll see you next week for I guess the penultimate episode of the show, and then the week after for the final episode. I guess that's when my final thoughts will be, unleashed, and I can finally do like a ranking of the seasons. Yeah, on my main channel. But yeah, I guess I'll end it here. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Please leave a like, and peace.